What's up, guys? I'm BTC. We got some more information about upcoming hero changes from Jeff Kaplan. Buffs, nerfs, and it looks like another rework. The first change we're going to talk about is a nerf to Lucio, but this only affects the capture the flag game mode. So over on the forums, Jeff Kaplan said, we're patching Lucio very soon. He will drop the flag on wall ride. Patch will most likely hit Tuesday Pacific time and PC, and Wednesday, Thursday Pacific for console. We have to get through the patch certification. That's why there's a difference in the release time. Sorry. Not only is his speed unreasonably fast with the boost from wall ride, but he can also get to places that are very difficult to defend against. So again, this is only capture the flag, and it's just because it was kind of ridiculous. A good Lucio player could grab the flag, and then you just never see him again. And some people were actually using this in order to delay the match. So what they would do is they would pick Lucio, and then they would just kind of like skate around on the walls and try to go outside the map and stuff, and just prevent the flag from ever actually being captured. Now, just in case you're wondering, why does the patch for the console get through a little bit later? It's because Blizzard doesn't control the servers that run the game. So for the PC, they can change anything they want anytime they want. But if they're trying to change something on console, they have to give the patch to Microsoft and Sony, and then those companies will check it, do their little certification process, and then they put the patch on the servers. That's why it always takes a little bit longer. Also, this is kind of why the mouse and keyboard situation has not been addressed on the consoles, because Blizzard has no control over that at all. Microsoft and Sony are completely in charge when it comes to that stuff, and they get to determine whether or not you can use the mouse and keyboard. The next character is Mei, and Jeff Kaplan was responding to some questions about how the character might need some sort of major rework. And he said, we disagree that Mei needs a major rework. We are trying some improvements to her, but they are not major. Now, we kind of already know what one of these is going to be, because it accidentally slipped onto the live version of the game with the patch that we just got with the Year of the Dog event. And that is, it reduced the cost of her right-click from 25 down to 20, so she could use it more frequently. Now, this by itself is absolutely not going to change anything for Mei. The problem is that Mei doesn't do enough damage to be a full-on DPS. But she's also not good enough to be a tank either. So she's in this really weird kind of utility spot, but she only has any sort of viability or use in very, very limited situations. As I've said in the past, I think the best solution would be to just make Mei into a full-on tank. Now, this is going to require a few more changes other than just, decreasing the cost of the right-click and maybe, some other things. But I think ultimately you have to give the character an actual position. There's basically three different roles. You have the DPS, you have tank, and you have healing. I know there's a lot of subcategories. We don't need to go into all that. Basically, all the characters need to go into one of those in order to really be useful and to be viable in most situations. And because Mei doesn't fit in there, she has the same problem as, Symmetra, who we're going to talk about in just a second. Basically, who do you replace? Do you replace a DPS? Do you replace a tank? What do you get rid of to put Mei into the match? The last one to talk about is Symmetra, and Jeff Kaplan was pretty brief on that. He said, Symmetra will require more work to get into a better place, and therefore take longer to address. It sounds like they're going to do another rework on Symmetra. I don't think just kind of changing a couple of numbers for the damage or for the ult charge is going to do anything. They're going to have to look at that character and go back to the drawing board, basically, in order to make Symmetra in some way viable. I mean, I've pointed this out in many, many videos in the past. Symmetra has a 0% pick rate in the Overwatch League. And in the regular competitive ladder, she is almost always in the bottom 2 or 3. The character is almost never used, And again, this is the same problem that we have with Mei, is where are you going to put her in the actual team lineup? Are you going to replace one of the DPS? Are you going to replace one of the tanks? Are you going to replace one of the healers? None of those is really a good option to put a Symmetra in the game, because as we found out, the shield generator just isn't nearly as good as another character who can just simply heal you back to full health. And the teleporter has never really been something that's good in Overwatch, for the simple fact that all it does is encourage trickling. And remember, it's different from just getting a res from Mercy, because when that happens, you're brought right back into the fight right in the middle of it. But with the teleporter, you still have to wait for the full duration of your respawn, and then you can go back through the teleporter and get into the fight again. But by then, the fight is probably already over, and even if it's not, generally, you're gonna be better off if you just had a healer that prevented you from dying in the first place. So if I had to take a guess, this is what I think they're gonna do with the Symmetra changes. First is her turrets are definitely gonna be changed in some way or another. They might make it so that she can use more, maybe it recharges faster, or maybe they might even give her the option to have a healing turret instead of just the damage turret. I don't know. But I do think that the turret is going to get some kind of a change. As far as the photon barrier, that giant shield that she can throw out, I think they're probably going to end up removing that entirely. It was a good idea, don't get me wrong. I think it was really cool when it first came out, but when you actually try to use it in practice, it's just terrible. It just doesn't work. It's not in any way, shape, form, or fashion a good ability for the character. So I think they're definitely going to remove it, and what I think is probably going to happen is they might end up taking one of her ultimates, either the teleporter or the shield gen, and they're actually going to put that as a regular ability. My guess is that they're going to take the teleporter. Obviously, it would have to be a lot weaker than the ultimate version. So it's probably going to be fairly in line with what Mercy's Resurrect is. It's going to have like a 20 to 30 second timer, and it's only going to be able to teleport maybe 1 or 2 people. I think it might get more than what the res can, for the simple fact that, again, the res can take someone back in the middle of a fight, whereas with the teleporter, they have to wait until their respawn is done, and then they can do. So that's like an extra 10 to 15 seconds of wait time before someone can come back. As for the ultimate, it would probably stay the shield generator, and maybe they'll buff it up a little bit. So what do you guys think about those changes? Let me know down in the comments. Also, don't forget to check out my Discord server. Follow me on Twitch and Twitter. The links are down below. Thanks for watching. Remember, always blame the controller, because it's never your fault. Also, special thanks to all my Patreon supporters for helping to make this all possible. If you'd like to see what kind of cool rewards you can get for supporting the channel, check the links on screen and down below.